Hey, everybody, this is Dawn Mitchell, and welcome to Dawn of Sports. Today, we are celebrating strong women leaders in curling. That's right. You know all about it here in Minnesota. I've never played it, but I would love to try it out. Our next guest will fill us in. And specifically, we're talking about the St. Paul Bonnie Spielers out of the St. Paul Curling Club. We're going to talk to Peggy Clasen of the Curling Club and find out what big celebration they have coming up.
This is Dawn of Sports. She's Dawn Mitchell from Fox 9. We're coming from the Aquarius Home Services studios, and this is TalkNorth.com, the best way to listen to this show or any show you like at the network. Please subscribe to your favorite podcast app. It's free. It's the easiest way to listen to. Listen to all the shows. This is Dawn's show. We hit on women's sports frequently, not just women's sports, but that's where we usually end up, and this is another great example of that. So back to Dawn.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to someone who everyone might know in the curling circles, but also in the speed skating circles. Peggy Clasen joining us. Peggy, I know that you're huge in curling now, but we can't forget about you are an Olympic speed skater. And I think that probably gave you an advantage going to the ice, even though you don't use skates for curling, but you're always on ice, very comfortable on ice. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for having me.
Now, I know you and I had spoken about this, that curling is kind of in your family blood. And I had mentioned off the top the St. Paul Bonnie's Spielers. Am I saying that right? What a history. Your grandmother, Betty, founded this club back in the 1950s. So you have a huge 75th celebration coming up. And I just love that whenever there's not only a woman that's a pioneer in a sport, but that you're celebrating something that she helped build 75 years later. That must make you feel so proud.
Absolutely. So kind of how this all started. So the St. Paul Bonnie Spielers, there was just the men's league at the St. Paul Curling Club on Selby Avenue. And the women asked if they could join and start a league. So they did. So there were 16 members in the first what do you call it? On the first committee who started. My grandmother, Betty, was the treasurer. And so she was one of the founding members, and they were only allowed to curl on sheet 8. I unfortunately never got to meet my grandmother. She passed away before I was born. So, and going back to, my grandmother and grandfather had 6 children. So I am the 3rd generation of a Clasen curler, and there's also 4th generation with 2 of my nephews, and we had other cousins, nieces, and nephews who had curled also. But yeah, so I have been curling on the St. Paul Bonnie Spielers after my skating career. I started in 2000, and I joined the Women's League because I wanted to. I was tired of watching my dad and my brothers and cousins curl, so I joined. And so when it came up to about 2 years ago, they said we're having our 75th, and I was asked if I wanted to be on the planning committee, and I said, absolutely. I said, if my grandmother started this, I need to help celebrate it. So that
is fantastic.
Yep. So me and Amy McGurl are the co-chairs of the committee. So, and we've been working on the celebration, which will be October 24th on a Saturday at the Curling Club for 2 years now. We've been working on it. So we're looking forward to celebrating soon.
Oh, yeah. That is so terrific. Like when you think back 75 years, some people say, well, women should have been playing much earlier than that, right? Mm-hmm. But like you said, they had to fight, scratch, claw their way. They only got on sheet 8.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the worst sheet in the curling club. And so
I assumed.
My father, mm-hmm. And then they got to go to sheet 7, and now we can curl on all the sheets. We get to rotate on all the sheets. Because back in the day, me as a young kid, we really weren't allowed in the curling club. It was kind of, it was mainly just the people who were playing, but before that, when they did start, because I'm not 75, when the men did get to start, but still I don't I remember just a few things about hanging out at the curling club. And then we eventually, me and my two brothers, my parents wanted something to us to do as a family, and there really wasn't too much going on for juniors, and I don't know why, and we never asked them why we didn't curl as young kids, but we went to speed skating. So, but both my parents curled while we were speed skating, and then when we got way too involved, both my parents stopped curling for a while. And then my father came back after my brother and cousin came back first, and then they did that. So that's kind of my history of joining curling.
It sounds like your parents were smart. Let's have our kids get all of their energy out on the speed skating side, and we can have our game to ourselves for just a little bit longer. Feed them sugar, send them out on the other side. So I love how you said that it's the Clasen Curlers, that it is a family event. Your whole family has embodied this and has really, the St. Paul Curling Club would not be the same without your family. You kind of are like the royalty of the club. I know there's many other families that have been doing it forever, but can you speak to what it's like to be part of the curling club, not only to have that history, but to have the history of the different families and what it means? It's like these roots are intertwined, and it creates a strong bond.
It does. It really does. I mean, it's an honor to be a part of something for so long. And it's just, our family, having my grandfather curl, and then my grandmother starts this. My older brother has been president of the St. Paul Curling Club. He is also, my brother Scott is also the manager of the St. Paul Curling Club. Pretty much every day of the week, you can find one of us in our family, because my father came from a family of 6, and everything. And when I started, the only league I wanted to curl on was the women's league, which is on Wednesday nights. That I really wanted to be part of that and continue that legacy on, because my aunts, I had 2 aunts and 3 other uncles, and they all curled, and I've curled with one of my aunts and her daughter on my team, and it's just it's a great sport to learn. And you just don't have to be young. You can be all different ages. I mean, we have a woman on our Bonnie Spielers who is also our historian for us, and she is 81 years old and still curling. Anybody can be curling, yep. Mike Raku, she is our historian and is still curling and has put a lot of effort and everything into the 75th, just collecting the pictures, which has been just phenomenal from back in the day. And last year, when we started celebrating our 75th, every Wednesday night, there was pictures from back in the past and questions that people had to kind of guess about what, who was in the first board members, who has family members that were on the first board, stuff like that. And they looped pictures, and those have just been phenomenal to see, and who is still curling. From even 40 years ago, 50 years ago, that are some of our still Bonnies are curling now. It's been it's a great sport. I don't know how to say it, because you can be, I curled with my nephews when they were young kids and I was older, and, my nephews curl with my older brother. And women and men can curl together now, and it's just all around is a great sport. But being part of the Bonnie Spielers, they used to have just limited sheets, limited time, and then we were able to, they had a day league and a night league, and it was spelled day and NITE, the Bonnies are always unique. And everything we do, I do have to say that, and everybody in the club will be that, because we just really have grown together, and it's a great camaraderie to go on Wednesday nights and be part of the St. Paul Bonnie Spielers.
More with Peggy and Dawn in a moment. We do want to thank Aquarius Home Services. We'd also like to thank Minnesota Masonic Charities.
Today, I want to talk a little bit about the Minnesota Masonic Charities. When you think about the Masons, I get it. You think about the funny hats, those pancake breakfasts, which are phenomenal. My dear friend John Schweitz and I have chatted about this, and it's so much more than that. They've got the Masonic Home over in Bloomington. They've got the hospital for the children over at the U of M. They are the largest fraternal organization in terms of charitable needs in our country, and they deserve a ton of recognition. So thank you, Minnesota Masonic Charities, for all you do and for supporting us over here at Talk North, and a special thanks to my good friend, John Schweitz.
Back to Dawn.
So, Peggy, I want to ask you this question. For someone who was in an individualized sport for most of your youth with the speed skating, you've been to 3 Olympics, you're competitive. We know that you're at the top of your sport in one respect. What does it take to take all of that and then be so competitive in curling? Now, most of the people that are listening to this are from Minnesota, are probably well-versed in what curling is, but people from maybe outside of the region may not know unless they watch the Olympics and watch curling. But I have seen firsthand just how competitive it can be. I think I'd be a good scrubber. That's what I always call the term. But
Sweeper.
what is it? How could? Yeah, the sweeper. I know it's a sweeper, but I like to say scrubber because I'd be really good at that. But for you, competition-wise, and just how you are as an athlete, how did you channel that, and how does that translate to curling?
So when you go from being so competitive and so you know how to do everything, and then you try a completely new sport, yes, it's on ice, but you're on your shoes, and you got to learn how to throw at the correct weight and straight, or to where the skip wants you to throw it. It can be very frustrating, and it takes a lot of practice, like skating did. It's not something you just jump on and it comes natural to you, like skating did. I also had to, personally, being so competitive and on the top, I had to kick it back a notch, and not be as competitive. I still like to be competitive. I still like to win, but it's taken me a long time to improve my skills and work that way, and my knees don't work so well anymore. So from skating, so that makes it challenging, throwing the stones and everything too. But it's just like anything you got to do. You got to practice it and work hard and work with your teammates to, make you a very competitive special team. And the women are competitive. Some of us are, like I don't take it as competitive as I did my skating. I'm here to have fun, to hang out with all the women, but still be competitive in a little smaller aspect, I should say. It was a challenge.
I'm glad you brought a challenge, right? But I'm glad you brought up the knees because, I'm like, okay, I've had a knee injury. I have kind of, luckily, my whole life until about a couple of years ago, never had to deal with a knee injury.
Yep.
But when I did, I'm like, now I'm watching the throwers. Is that the proper term?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I got that right. The throwers, they have to, it's almost like bowling, like in a way of like, you got to bend that one knee. I'm like, I don't know if I'd be able to do that. Or if I did, I don't know if I'd be able to get back up. Like I would like to think I could. But
it is,
when you think of that,
it's a lot of balance. It's a lot of strength. You do use your broom to balance you, or some people use a tool to ride on to help them with that. But now you even have a stick that you don't even have to get down in the hack and throw your stone. You can just walk out with a stick. It's not at Olympic level, but league level, there's a lot of people who throw with a stick, so they are able to keep curling if your knees are bad. Sometimes I struggle getting up off the ice. I got to switch feet and, try and get back up. So, but yeah, it does. And as you obviously get older, your, throwing can get a little different each year, and you got to figure it back out till you get used to it again midway through the season. It's not always great at the beginning of the season. So
what I love is you said, though, there's a woman who's 81. So let me tell you, you want to make sure if she can do it, you can do it still, right? There's no
Absolutely.
excuses.
Yes, no, there isn't. Nope. And she throws with a stick, so, there is someday when my knees don't work, I can throw with a stick also.
A little more of Peggy and Dawn coming up here shortly. We do want to thank a couple more sponsors, starting with the Minnesota Twins.
Here is where it all starts. Here's where pages are turned and new legends are written. Here's where kids become lifelong fans and lifelong fans become kids. Here's where sunsets last longer, happy hour tastes better, and summer hits its stride. And when all of Twins territory stands together and believes hard enough, well, there's no place like here. Get your tickets at twins.com.
Thanks also to Citizens Independent Bank. Women's sports don't grow because of one moment. They grow because people keep showing up. The fans, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the local businesses investing in their communities and believing in what's possible. At Citizens Independent Bank, they believe that same local connection is what helps people reach their goals, with financial solutions built around relationships, not transactions. Citizens Independent Bank, unlock the power. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. And a reminder that Tammy Henderson, our great Vice President of Business Development, can be reached at thenderson@talknorth.com if you'd like to sponsor this or any of the shows at talknorth.com. And we have quite the lineup, both sports, variety, and outdoor content. Check it all out. We do appreciate it. Back to Dawn.
Well, Peggy, I would say over the past couple of years, obviously with the success of the men's team, and then you had guys, like Jared Allen, who said, "Oh my God, what is this sport? I love it so much. Let me go on in on it." Have you seen over all the years that your family has been involved? Have you seen maybe an uptick in the interest, or how has that been for you?
So, when back in 1988, and that was one of my first Olympics, curling was a demonstration sport. And as soon as that was shown, it grew immensely. Our St. Paul Curling Club got inundated with, people wanting to curl. And then it came back in 98, I think, if I get my story straight. Even more publicity. And as both the men and women's team last year and the previous Olympics had gotten stronger and stronger, our club is full. So other clubs throughout the Twin Cities have opened up. There's one in Chaska, Frogtown, Dakota Curling Club. There's one up in Blaine. So it has really exploded here in Minnesota. Besides all your old school clubs up north, Eveleth has one, Duluth has one, there's Cambridge has one. You always had those that people have been curling for years and years, but now in the Twin City area, it has really expanded so more and more people can curl. Because our women's league, we are actually full, and we've been full for years. We actually have too many teams that we have to have extra buys, but we don't want to cut how many women's teams we have. We want to keep it as much as we can. We started with 16 curlers, back in 75 years ago, and we have had 1,400 women who have joined the St. Paul Bonnie Spielers throughout the years. So, that's a lot. It's every Olympics.
That's
you get
amazing.
More and more calls. Yeah. My brother just loves it right after the Olympics. How many calls he gets at the curling club about coming down to watch, or can we join, their curling clinics, all that stuff. So, and the club is open to the public to walk in and check it out. We do have one of the biggest curling clubs in the United States. We have each sheets of ice, and we are completely full. We are 2 levels, so you can watch at sheet level, and then you can go upstairs and watch, and that's where all the teams go. After you're done curling, every team goes up to their designated table, and you usually sit down and have a drink together and talk about whatever you want to talk about. Talk about the game or whatever else you want to talk about. So It's just not handshakes at the end of the game and you go home. You always go upstairs and hang out for a while. That's one of the neatest things about curling. It's just not you compete and you go home, but you build friendships, and then you curl with different
Oh,
people
yeah.
that you can go out of town with and stuff. So yeah. It's a gentleman's sport. You shake hands before you curl and you shake hands after you curl, and the winners have to clean the ice. That's
Oh,
yeah.
really?
And usually they offer to buy the first round of drinks. So it's kind of reverse where, you think the losers were, nope, it's the winners. So it's a real gentleman's sport. There's no cussing out on the ice. There's no frustration. You just, you respect each other as a curler out there.
Well, that's fantastic because if you think about it, even if you lose, you don't have to clear the
Yep.
ice, and then you can get free drinks. So
Yeah.
like why get all mad?
But you still want to be the top of the boards, And with our Bonnie Spielers, we do have an A, B, and C flight. And then we do have an overall. So they're kind of ranked by the win-losses of the different levels of the curlers. I'm always usually in the C flight, but I have moved up to the B flight. So there's trophies for
Look at
that.
you.
And then
Woo-hoo.
there's an overall trophy also. So we have a lot of awards. And there used to be, when the Bonnies first started, you had to earn your position. Because there's 4 people on the team, a lead, a second, a third, and a skip. Always started as a lead, and then you had to be promoted up. Now they've changed those rules, and people can choose what positions they want to play and stuff. But so it is still,
That's awesome.
you're still competitive, but you still have, you enjoy each other after the game.
Well, you kind of answered basically my next question already. So people can go to the St. Paul Curling Club and watch and kind of like get their fill and fuel their love for it. But you're full. So like
Yep.
say if there's a rando like me who's never played, where would you direct me to take that next step? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so in love with this sport now. I really want to I know you're full. Where do I go? Do you have like some sort of deal with the other clubs? I know it's a small kind of band of people in this state that love it anyway. Do you help that person like me if I showed up saying where to go next?
Okay. Well, you can put yourself always on like a list, to say, hey, you're interested in it. You can try it out. There's clinics and stuff. And so you can get, take some of the clinics that are at the club and just get used to it. And then reach out to other clubs or find people on teams. There's always subs too, because people are always looking for subs. So you can kind of get in that way. So there's different ways to get in, because teams are always evolving and stuff. So, but you just can't say, hey, I got 4 people, I'm brand new. Is there a spot? You can try,
Right.
but put your name on a list and that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm so excited for you. Remind us again, when in October is the 75th anniversary?
October 24th. So Saturday. It's
Okay.
Just the the Bonnie Spielers themselves. No other people are invited. We're keeping it small. Yeah. We've looked up all of email addresses from all past Bonnies and have sent out invitations. And we hope to have a lot of turnout. And there's going to be all the memorabilia of pictures and all that stuff. And it's a little entertainment. And yeah, it's just going to be a good old time at the curling club.
Well, good. I'm hoping you will share all those pictures with me so I can put them on Fox 9 in October when that all comes. But you know what? I just want to congratulate you for picking up the history, so to speak, and carrying it on your back and taking what your grandmother helped build and move it forward, because I know your whole family is involved, but when there's a woman side of things and you're the woman, to reach back and grab a hold of that history and bring it forward, that's a powerful position to be in, my friend. And I just want to congratulate you on that.
Thank you. I've truly have enjoyed it, what I've learned about, what happened back in the day when they all started it. And I like carrying that forward, and I like carrying any sport to any young person, girl or boy, to promote sports because it teaches you a lot in life. And it's fun when you can do it. And if you can continue doing sports throughout the rest of your life, it's a great thing to do.
Amen. That is the perfect place to leave this conversation. Peggy Clasen, you are amazing. You know I adore you anyway. You know I only know 4.5 Bon Jovi songs. We went to Bon Jovi together, and she and her cousin are like, yeah, you're going to sing every single song. I'm like, I will know 5 songs, maybe 4.5. And that I was right on target. I mean, I know who he is, but you're a good time. You're a good sport. And I am so happy about this upcoming celebration. So thank you for joining us today. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you both, and go Bon Jovi.